What is up, everyone? This is Raphael Garcia here on April 4th, 2020, and this is the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast, episode number 53. And tonight we will be talking about WrestleMania night number one. And wow, we have quite a bit to talk about today because the show was great. I'm excited. I'm excited for night number two. But before we hop into all of that, I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. As always, you can find my content at rgarcia_sports. This podcast is housed under MMA ratings, which you can find in a lot of different places. You can go to our main platform at MMAratings.net, where you can rate the upcoming mixed martial arts contest and let us know how excited you are about those fights, as well as rate the past fights and tell us what you thought of the action that just went down. You can find this podcast and our Tuesday podcast, which is the MMA Ratings podcast, myself and Sharon Humes, every single Tuesday. You can find that on platforms such as Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Anchor as well. And you can always go over to our YouTube channel at MMA Ratings to see all of our podcast content there. And again, thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. Please be sure to hit us with a like and subscribe and share across your social media channels if you would be so kind. Wow, what a show that was. I'm not going to say it was perfect. It was not perfect. But goodness gracious, WWE outdid themselves today. And it was interesting because last night I had the idea to write a piece on Daily DDT about whether or not we're heading for a point where if this show is a success, how will it impact future WWE content and future WWE events? And I might talk about that in a moment, but especially after we get to that main event. But we definitely have a lot to talk about from this show. As you know, COVID-19 has been running amok all over the world, and it's really caused people to shelter in at home, and there aren't any sporting events going on. And WrestleMania, of course, obviously, is a showcase that's in front of 60, 40,000 fans every year. We can't be doing that this year. So instead, they took it to the Performance Center where they've done their last couple of shows in empty arenas. And this was a very good delivery of a show. And what they did was, as COVID-19 continues to ramp up, I mean, we're not even in the peak of it yet. This past week, they taped all of their matches. And they did a fantastic job of not letting any leaks get out because, I mean, I didn't hear or see anything except for one thing, and that's kind of just because of the Roman Reigns situation. But outside of that, I didn't see or hear anything about how any of these matches were going to end. So that was perfect for me. But this show came in with some interesting fanfare. And it was 50-50 to be honest, because there were those who thought that this show was going to suck from top to bottom, and there's those who thought that this show had some potential. I was one of the latter because I thought that this would be an opportunity for WWE to do things differently and show that they can still be creative when it mattered. And I think that was the key takeaway from this because they didn't, obviously, they couldn't do their regular type of show where they're playing to the crowd and getting everyone screaming and chatting and all that other stuff. But they had to be a little bit more original with their finishes, a little bit more original with their deliveries and everything in between. And I think that they delivered. I think that they did a really strong job. Everyone performed well today. There were some things that we can complain about, and I will when I get to that point. But man, I'm pleased with what I saw tonight. And let's go ahead and jump into some of these results. So we had a pre-show matchup. Actually, before we even get to the pre-show, let's talk that music video with The Miz and Morrison. I mean, nobody asked for that. Nobody knew about that. But I gotta go back and see it. I gotta go back and watch that thing again because it was it was such out of left field. I wasn't ready. I know no one I was talking to online or anything like that was ready for that foolishness, but that's the exact way to describe it. I need for some type of rap battle between those groups now again, just so I can see some of that foolishness again. But that Miz and Morrison hip hop song was just something else. But in the opener, we got Drew Gulak and Cesaro, and they had a 4 minute match. Now, I thought that they would give them more time, and I liked the start of I like this match as a starter. Cesaro out here doing all of his power moves, and Gulak was going right to the grappling, using a lot of arm work to keep Cesaro grounded, but it did not work because Cesaro got the win. He hit a airplane spin, which was, it was my first time seeing him use that. He may have used it before, but this was my first time seeing him use that technique. But he hits a airplane spin with no hands, starts to spin out regularly, holding Gulak in place, and puts his hands on his hips while he's still spinning for a pretty comedy spot. Slams the Gulak to the mat and gets the 1, 2, 3. This was a good start to me. I wish that they would have been given more time. I think that they could have done some good work here, like Daniel Bryan and Gulak did last month when they had their opener. So I think that there was opportunity to do some good work here, but they just didn't get the time. And that's really kind of I guess, a part of the narrative in today's show, because we're going to talk about some other matches where people just did not get time that should have. And there's one key match where people got too much time, and we're going to talk about that as well too. So after the pre-show, we got a welcome from Stephanie McMahon, and again, they did not name coronavirus by name or COVID-19. They call it current. They call it current situation or current circumstances, whatever phrase she used. But she did the welcome, and then we got a mashup of America the Beautiful, sung by everyone that's basically sung in the past: Aretha Franklin, Michelle Williams. I can see what's his name, Ray Charles. A whole Jerry Garcia, a whole bunch of people like that they've had singing over the years. So that was pretty nice. A lot of people liked that montage, and I think it was a pretty good touch. Then we got the intro segment, which was kind of a parody of itself, which again was a nice touch. It shows. Oftentimes, I think WWE takes themselves way too seriously, and they forget that they're in the entertainment aspect of sports. It's not just, it's clearly a scripted sports, but they forget that they're in the entertainment space, and their intro really kind of tapped into that because it was kind of cheesy, it was kind of hokey a little bit, but it did a good job of getting people excited for the show because there was just something different, something we haven't seen in a very long time. From there, they went to the host where it was Gronk and what's the guy's name, Mojo Rawley. These two assholes could have got the hell off my TV. I mean, I'm not here to see them. I don't care to see either one of them. And for all I care, they can kiss my ass because I was just like, this is stupid, stupid. But from there, we got the first match of the night. We got the women's tag team title match with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross against the Kabuki Warriors, and we have new tag team champions. Bliss and Cross won the match after 15 minutes, and this 15 minutes was good because they were doing some hard hitting action. The screaming and yelling at the start of the match, it was kind of funny, but no, I get it. I like how Sane and Asuka have kind of built that into their characters, and I liked how Alexa was kind of feeding off of that a little bit. Nikki was too. She's like the only sane one out of the match, or out of the four women in the match. So it was some good stuff there. Things started really picking up when Alexa did a senton off of the apron, with Nikki coming with a crossbody off the top. So that was pretty good there. Asuka's, man, her kicks are fucking stiff as hell, and I cringe a little bit when Alexa gets kicked in the head because she's had so many concussion issues over the past couple of years. So for a minute there, it looked like she got clocked when she was in the Alberto Del Rio spot where they're hanging from the ropes and the other person comes down, usually stomps on their chest, but Sane drove her knee right in the Bliss's face, and the way she grabbed her forehead, I'm like, man, she's concussed. That's it. So Alexa takes a lot of damage. She gets her ass whipped for most of the match, which is usually different. I feel like, I'm not sure. I don't really remember too many of the Bliss and Cross tag team matches. But Nikki gets the hot tag. They go back and forth for some more offense. Of course, Nikki's changing the momentum there. We got a twist. So they did two off the top save spots. The first one was the insane elbow onto the back of the head of Nikki Cross when she was pinning Asuka, and then they do another. So then they hit that. Then they do a doomsday device spot where the Kabuki Warriors hit a Doomsday Device on Nikki Cross, and right before they pin her, Alexa Bliss hits the Twisted Bliss spot off the top to save um, Nikki Cross. So there's some more back and forth action, which led to another Twisted Bliss from the top and on Kerry Zane and Nikki Cross on Alexa Bliss win the title as two-time champions. I think Bliss is a four-time women's champion, 4 or 5 time women's champion, two-time tag team champion. So she's doing the damn thing, man. She's definitely probably one of the more successful women on the roster in this era. Then we got the match that this match should have been 4 minutes. No one in their right mind was looking forward to this match at all. As we have Baron Corbin and Elias. I mean, it was just stupid. They cut back to that segment from last week, I believe it was, when Elias fell off the top of the little awning where William Regal stands. And what pisses me off the most about that is they were pushing that like it was some big moment, like some big injury, and Elias should be hurt and out of the match. When just maybe 2 weeks ago, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were fighting up there, and Tommaso Ciampa hit him with an air raid crash from the top of that through the table, and it was like they were right back up the next weekend. So why should I believe that Elias is out of commission if we just saw two smaller guys go through the same situation? Like it's like don't think I'm stupid there. But we get this match, and this match is 9 minutes long, and it's a Baron Corbin paint by numbers match, and I feel bad because Baron Corbin doesn't suck as a wrestler. He doesn't suck as a personality, but the way WWE has treated him, the way they booked him, he's just boring as fuck. I mean, he could be really good. I love how he's implemented a lot of the Big Boss Man's um, maneuvers into his moveset. I love how he's also unique in the ring as well too. But Jesus Christ, he's so boring as a character, and I don't know how they fix that. I kind of tweeted that out. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure nobody does. But that was just some ridiculous shit that this match did not need to be 9 minutes in any way, shape, or form. This match did not need to be 9 minutes, and it's unfortunate that it was because if you look at that, and we're gonna move on to the next match, Sami Zayn, no, sorry, the next match was Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch. This match should have been 15 minutes, almost 20-minute matchup. They got 8 minutes and 30 seconds. This was the second shortest match on the actual Mania card. Think about that. This match they've been building up to for so long was the second shortest match on the card. And I don't know why that is. I'm sure something's going to come out about that at some point in time. But Becky retains in only 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And they start off hot. I knew this was going to be a fast-paced match because they start off hot, throwing hands. And the fact that the arena is empty and everything's mic'd up, you can hear everything much, much louder. And they're just beating the shit out of each other. Shayna gets the upper hand. They go outside of the ring, and Shayna does her spot where she smashes Becky into the announcer's table twice. That is a sick thump, and I like that she's doing that. So they get back into the ring. There's more hard hitting stuff, but the finish comes when Baszler gets the Kirifuda clutch. I can't remember what that actually stands for, but she basically gets the rear naked choke and goes to her back to throw in the hooks on Lynch to basically keep her in spot. And Becky rolls over and pins Baszler's shoulders to the mat, 1, 2, 3. Now, what makes me so mad about that is Baszler's been beaten by that well, not recently, but I think Kerry Zane beat her with that twice. And I feel like Kerry Zane beat her twice, and I feel like Ember Moon did as well, beat her with that same thing. And it's like, why? They couldn't come up with something different. B, I am kind of tired of Becky Lynch. I'm not even gonna lie. She has done a lot. She's been carrying this promotion. The promotion partly as well, but she's been carrying definitely the women's division on her back for the last year and a half now, and maybe more than that. And I'm a little bit tired of her. I would like to see her go away maybe for a little while, come back. I think she would be fantastic if she came back at a time when it looked like the women's division needed a face to overcome some big bad like Shayna Baszler or something like that. But this match only got 8 minutes and 30 seconds. It was probably one of the more important matches on either one of these 2 days, and they only gave it 8 minutes and 30 seconds. That's telling to me. And it's unfortunate because last year they were the main event. So 8 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to keep saying that because that just stands out to me so much. And I wonder why it was cut down so much. And I'm sure we're going to probably hear about that at some point in time. We're going to go to the next match where we have Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental Championship. And this match was good. Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan are fucking excellent in the ring. And they have Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Drew Gulak on the outside. I'm like, what? Like, that's all the wrestling in the world that you need right there. All the technical ability, all the character in Shinsuke and Sammy. You have everything right there within those five guys that are involved in this match here. So they get going. Sami Zayn is running around playing cat and mouse, trying to keep away from Daniel Bryan. Gulak gets involved, takes out Nakamura and Cesaro. Then Bryan gets the upper hand. He's beating the shit out of Sammy for majority of this match, kicking him in the chest, kicking him in the back, just getting super rough with them. I don't even think Sammy had that much offense, to be honest. But the finish comes when Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro come back. They start beating up Gulak. Bryan dives onto them to the outside, and there's a little scuffle outside of the ring. Bryan goes back to get into the ring, and he takes a hula kick and gets laid out, gets pinned 1, 2, 3. They got 9 minutes and 20 seconds. So they even got more than the women's match, which is, it is what it is. These are big matches, but I think match time matters. And I don't know if it's more, in my opinion, it's more treasonous that Elias and King Corbin got 9 minutes, and Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler only got 8:30, while Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura got 9:20. Like that's the more egregious part of that is the Baron Corbin piece. But that's neither here nor there. It is what it is, and that's just how that kind of went down. But Sami Zayn keeps the Intercontinental Championship, and I wonder, especially with what they did in the Braun Strowman Goldberg match, with Braun Strowman winning the title. I wonder if they're going to do something where Sami Zayn is now coming after Braun. I thought they were going to take the title off of Sami so he can now go after Braun, seeing how they just beat Braun not too long ago. The last time he was on television is when he was losing to those three for the Intercontinental title. So I wonder what they're going to do about that because, because I guess they're going to go back to Roman. I'm not sure, but we don't know when that will be. However, some intriguing stuff here. So then we got okay, I call this the singles ladder match for the tag team title. And we had John Morrison versus Jimmy Uso versus Kofi Kingston. Now, this is a singles match, ladder match for the tag team titles because they did not want to put all 6 men in the ring at the same time, especially with Miz supposedly being sick. Now, I mean, he was coughing the other day and people were kind of questioning it. So, that is what it is. I don't have the scoop on that. This match fucking stole the show for me. It was fantastic. John Morrison wins. They go 18 minutes and 30 seconds. And they were giving us everything. Like they came out hot from the start. Athletic start. Guys out here hitting monkey flips, landing on their feet, going for all types of kicks and missing. It was just fast paced right out the jump. Then they bring in the ladders and the shit just goes left. You got Kofi Kingston hitting the crossbody off the top of a ladder. Kingston he tried to go for what looked like kind of like a drop kick through the ladder. He gets caught and gets thrown out the ring. Morrison did a parkour-ish type move off of the top of the post onto Jimmy, who was laying across a ladder. I mean, what Kingston did a springboard Hurricane Rana onto Morrison, threw him off the ladder. The prettiest Spanish fly I've seen in a very long time. I started to tweet this out and I stopped. But the prettiest Spanish fly I've seen in a long time involved a white man and an African man from Ghana. Fantastic. But Morrison hits the Spanish fly on Kingston, which leads to a Uso splash from Jimmy. So there, I mean, Kingston does a double foot stomp to Morrison off the top of the ladder that looks like it kills him. So these two guys are just going at it, doing all types of ridiculous shit to each other, and I am totally, totally here for it, 110% of the way. So then we have what moment do we have? I'm sorry. Then we have the finish to this, which I actually liked. A lot of people were kind of complaining about it on Twitter because it looked like it was convoluted, but I liked it. What occurred was all three men were at the top of the ladder, fighting it out like it happens in every ladder match towards the end. They are fighting over the hook where the belts are on, and all three of them pull it down. So they're pulling it down, and they all have it in their hands. Kingston and Jimmy headbutt John Morrison to make him fall off the ladder, but as he falls off, he grabs onto the belts. So the belts rip off the hook, and he falls down, and the belts crash down on top of him. Ref calls the match. I mean, he was falling off the ladder, but he grabbed onto the belts, and the belts fell. So technically, they win. Now, granted, it's could be shaped as a convoluted situation. It could lead to man. Listen, if you can tell me that this match is going to be redone over at TLC after what these three guys did, add in the other two, sign me up. Or the other three, sign me up. I'm here for that all day, every day. This match right here is the one that stole the show so far for me. But we got to talk about that main event too, man. Goodness gracious. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, they had a very strong match as well too. And this, I mean, you knew that this match was going to be good because of Seth Rollins and KO. They're out here doing their thing. I think the thing that I love the most about this match is them talking so much shit to each other. You heard every single word that they had to say, and it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You had KO calling Rollins a little bitch over and over again as he's taking chair shots. You'll always be a little bitch. You're always going to be a bitch. Like, it was just so much shit talking. Seth was calling him fat son of a bitch, just fat shaming the hell out of him. Back and forth, back and forth. So it was some fantastic stuff. Now, Seth gets KO or DQ'd, excuse me, when he hits KO with the ring bell. So the match is over. He's walking off. People on Twitter are losing their mind. What? That was a shit finish. Da 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 da. Going, doing their thing. I, for one, was like, I want this. I thought this feud was going to end here. I'm not really even sure if it did with this finish, but I thought that this feud was going to end here. KO rolls back into the ring, says, no, 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 that's not how we're going to finish this. Get your ass back down here. This is a no DQ match. Seth hits him with the don't test me. Sounding like someone's dad, sounding like Jesus straight out of the Bible. And he comes back down and they restart the match. And I don't know, Voices of Wrestling tweeted this out and I kind of laughed because I was thinking the same thing. But does this count as one match or does this count as two now? Because, the DQ happened and then they switched to a no DQ. Does that mean it's two matches? Does that mean it's one? Whatever, we'll figure that out at some point in time. That's up to Cage Master to figure out. But they go back to fighting, beating the hell out of each other, just straight smashing, just beating the shit out of each other. KO gets his hand on the ring bell. He uses it this time to drop Seth. He puts him on the table, and then you see him run out of the camera shot for a second. 2 seconds later, he's on top of the WrestleMania sign, jumps off of that shit with a senton and smashes Seth through the table, and you hear Seth groaning like he's been killed. Like, I would expect a alien xenomorph to pop out of his stomach the way he was groaning and holding his midsection, screaming. Like, it was bad. And again, with there not being a crowd in there, you could hear everything. So that kind of really served it up and made it that much more interesting. So then we get the finish. KO rolls Rollins back into the ring as Seth is groaning. Kevin, please don't, please don't. Kicks him, stuns him, 1, 2, 3. So that was a good match. They got 17 minutes, 20 seconds. So it was good. I enjoyed everything about that match. It was a lot of fun. And I wonder if they're going to keep this feud going. We'll see what happens because if that title comes off of Brock and we finally get the title back in like the main picture, I can see something being done around that. But let's see what happens there because I think that there's opportunity there. Then we get Goldberg and Braun Strowman. Now, to say I was scared about how WWE is going to fuck us on this finish, I just knew. I knew they were going to fuck us on the finish. I just knew it. So Goldberg hits 4 spears on Braun Strowman. He hits the first 3, goes for the pin, Strowman kicks out. Hits another one, looks even better than that first 3. Goes for a pin, 1, 2, 3. Excuse me, goes for the pin, 2 count. Strowman kicks out. Now for a minute there, I'm like, is he going to try to jackhammer? Because you know he couldn't jackhammer Bray Wyatt, he couldn't jackhammer Undertaker. He damn sure ain't jackhammering Braun Strowman at this point in his career. So I'm like, is he going to go for it? I don't think so. So he starts to set it up. Braun goes for a power slam. Hits the first one. Hits the second one. Hits the third, and then hits a fourth. 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman is your Universal Champion. Now, this is big because this was done because Roman Reigns pulled out, obviously for health concerns. He's not sick, but with him being a cancer survivor, I mean, he was just getting treated for leukemia last year. He didn't want to take the risk. I don't blame him. None of these guys should have been in this situation, but that's like a conversation for another day. Like that's the conversation we've all been having for the last couple of weeks. So now Braun Strowman is the WWE Universal Champion. And there's so many different places you can go with that. You can go from here. I would like a monster heel Braun Strowman, but I don't think we're going to get that right now. That's what I would like. The I'm not finished with you, Braun Strowman. That's throwing guys off on stretchers off of platforms and stuff like that. I want that Braun Strowman, the one that's tipping over ambulances and fire trucks and stuff like that. I want that Braun Strowman to be a heel and just beat the shit out of everyone. But let's see what that really looks like because I don't know if that's going to be something that remains or something that is the case for an extended period of time. But either way, it was a fantastic match. I was, excuse me, not a fantastic match. It was a fantastic outcome because I thought they were going to go the other way and keep that belt on Goldberg until they got to a situation where Roman could take it. So let's see how that goes. I hope they don't turn the corner real quick and put it back on Roman, but only time will tell. Then we got the main event. See, for a second there, I forgot. I thought that was the end of the show. I almost started setting up for my podcast, but then I saw that the Boneyard match was coming. This is basically a match in the graveyard. It's basically a buried alive match. The production on this was absolutely hilarious and it was great at the same time. And this goes back to what I was writing about, where I said WWE has an opportunity here to show that they can still be creative and show that they can still create, like they can still do content differently than the stagnant shit they've been given to us for the last 10 years, maybe 5, 10 years. You see AEW doing different shit, not just in the arena. You've seen Matt Hardy doing shit from all over the places with his broken gimmick in TNA. You saw so much different types of wrestling being done in so many different places, and WWE is still doing the same stuff week in and week out. Now they were forced to do things differently, and they excelled at that. They excelled in a way that I was not expecting, and I enjoyed it so much from start to finish. So much. I just couldn't like. I wasn't even expecting this, and this was better than even anything I ever expected. Styles rolls up in the hearse. He's actually in the coffin, talking shit, waiting for the Undertaker to show up. Then you get the American Badass Taker pulling up, not like on the actual bike, bandana around the head, jacket on, jeans on. Like this is the American Badass version of Taker. I'm not a Taker fan at all in any way, shape, or form, but I got hyped for this. So these 2 guys are beating the hell out of each other all over this graveyard. You have Taker first, he has the offense first, beating up on AJ, sounding like the old dude on the block, beating up a young guy in the street. I needed him to call AJ Styles young blood one time for me. That's all I needed. But he's beating him up, basically giving him that work from start to finish. Then you have the rest of the OC show up. A brawl breaks out. Then from there, not only did the OC show up, they pulled out some druids that tried to rough up Taker. So you got druids out there fighting Taker. The whole time I was waiting for Kane or somebody else to jump out and help Taker, but they didn't go that route. That was kind of what he had hinted at. But you got Taker getting beat up. Well, he actually fought them all off. Then you have AJ bust like what looked like a cinder block over his head. He should have been dead, but they're fighting again, and now AJ has the upper hand, and he throws Undertaker into the grave. Undertaker flipped him off too. I mean, there was so much cussing on this show today. Bitch, shit, you getting people getting giving a finger. You got a little bit of everything today. So Undertaker's in the grave. AJ sitting on the plow, ready to push the dirt on top of him. Then a light shine. A light shines. I can't believe I'm talking about this shit. A light shines. Taker teleports behind AJ, beats him up some more, beats up the OC some more on top of the barn or whatever. Choke slams AJ from the top of the barn through through whatever sheet metal that was on the bottom, and then goes right back to talking shit, talking about some say her name again. I thought you said I was too old. Just laying in all the shit talking he wanted to get in. It's fantastic. So then he holds AJ over the grave, hugs him a little bit, talks about he put up a great fight. He looks like he's going to give AJ an opportunity to go on about his business. Then he just straight big boots him, throws him. If he falls into the grave, he pushes the dirt on him. And when he turns off the tractor, his music hits. He drives off on the motorcycle, raises his fist. Barn catches on fire. We see the Taker symbol. Show's over. Like, ladies and gentlemen, that was a hell of a match. If they can do that and they can give me the Fiend versus the Undertaker in that fashion, sign me up for that all day, every day. Like tomorrow we have the John Cena Fiend match where it's like a funhouse match or whatever it is. I'm excited. I'm excited now. I want to see what that's going to look like because this right here set the bar and they have a hell of a, I mean, whew, they set the ladder. This was an excellent show from start to finish. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. It was some great matches. And man, this is going to be some interesting times because we'll see what this looks like for WWE content in the future. If we ever get back to a normal place, hopefully we will. We'll be back in arenas, back watching pro wrestling live again, back watching sports live and doing stuff again live. But this was some interesting content, and we'll see what it looks like because WWE isn't planning on slowing down. They're not planning on not doing any content over this time. They're just going to keep running, and we're going to see what happens because this is pretty intriguing. But overall, I enjoyed this first night of WrestleMania. It was exciting. I had a lot of fun, and I couldn't I couldn't ask for anything else as this night ends. I'm looking forward to tomorrow starting at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be there for the whole show. This was only 3 hours, wasn't it? Yeah, well, the pre-show started at 6, so this was 4 hours in total. This was some good shit. This is some good shit, pal. And I'm going to leave it at that. Again, this is episode 53 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I appreciate everyone for taking the time to listen to this show. Thank you for stopping by. As always, you can find me at rgarcia_sports. You can find this podcast every week, at least one episode a week, here at MMA Ratings. So you can catch our Tuesday night podcast, which is all MMA on the same place. We are also on all podcast channels, whether it be Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that might be it. Like and subscribe our channel here and all those outlets as well too. You can always go over to the flagship at MMAratings.net to find our content there. Follow us as well at MMARatingsNet on Instagram and Twitter. My name is Raphael Garcia. Thank you again for listening to me. I will be back tomorrow to do a recap of day 2 of WrestleMania. Enjoy this, everyone, and stay safe out there. Have a good Saturday.